All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for joining and tuning in to Maroon Civic Sip. This is our first session, and I'm so excited to have Louisiana State Rep Delisha Boyd, who is in the building, who is putting herself up for service for the at-large council slot. And we're looking forward to having a conversation with you today.
Absolutely happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, look, I want to start because I want us to be loose and excited, and a little couple of little uh, uh, breakers, I guess icebreakers, I should say. Beignets are king cake.
See, there you go. There you go.
Come on, you
No,
got
it just depends on the mood. That's not a fair question.
there are no there, there are no
first, let me
wrong
say
answers.
this to everybody watching. I am allergic to both.
Yeah,
How about that?
she's allergic to
I'm
everything.
allergic to everything. This is my life over whatever age I am. But if I had, I don't want to choose, but because it depends.
Okay.
Sometimes I might want a king cake all to myself, depending on where it came from. And now with the expansion of beignets,
Yeah.
yeah, I like
We have beignet festival and all kinds of
all
things.
kind of things.
So, hey,
and then with that introduction to that glazed beignet, that's worth a Benadryl.
There are no
I
wrong
could take
answers.
a Benadryl and eat one of them.
All right, all right, all right. Brass band or marching 100.
Oh my God! Who wrote this stuff?
Me. It's me.
That's not
The
fair
people.
either.
The people
wrote it.
these.
The people said that. Okay, so here once again, there's no clear cut answer because if I want to drop it down, I might want the marching band, right? But if I'm trying to be cute, I might want the jazz band.
I got you. Okay. One more. All right. Neutral ground or sidewalk? Come on, now you got to be able to make a choice. Okay,
I like
all right. She a neutral ground.
Yeah, I am. Yes.
All right. Listen. We have a lot of folks who have sent in questions. We've asked people to send hard conversations or have hard conversations, and we think that this election is critical, and so we want people to really think through the reasons that the reasons why they are voting the way that they are, right? And so,
or not voting,
yeah, or not. That's a great point, right? And so we want everybody to exercise their right to vote, and I think those that don't, many times they don't feel like they are engaged in being heard in the process. And so, I've had the opportunity to be in, circles, rooms with people where they have had forums and the like, but many times we don't have people who look like me, who look like you, who are in the room. And so we want this to be a platform for us, right? So let me give you some context. Orleans Parish fell from 384,000 to 362,000, which is a drop of 21,000, right? And it remains far below pre-Katrina levels. Here's my question: what specific retention levers will you champion as a city council person?
So it's tragic that we're losing so many people, and it's mostly young professionals, and it's some state-related issues, but it's a lot of what's also going on within our city. If you want people to stay here, if you want people to come back here after they finish school, we have to offer them a place where they can actually set and grow roots here. What does that mean? They want to start a family. Can they educate their children here? Right? Which is very difficult to do and becoming more difficult because we have the lowest paid teachers. Some people might say in the southern region, well, the southern region is behind everywhere else. So I'm going to say in the United States. And with that, we have now very few people wanting to go into the field of education. in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So you have education departments that are closing down. Dillard closed their education
Mm-hmm.
department.
Mm-hmm.
UNO will probably be soon thereafter, according to Kathy Johnson, a conversation I had with her earlier this year. So then, who's educating our kids?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have people who are die-hard educators. Uh, it's the heart of them, but they can go to Texas and make $95,000. They can go to Mississippi and make more money, right? What's wrong with that? Mississippi does something better than we do. That's a joke, right?
Yeah.
But because of that, you have people who have education degrees, who are certified, that won't stay here. They're leaving because they can go other places and make more money, right? So you got that population that we're losing. Then you have to look at who's remaining to teach our kids. And for those that think that it does not matter because I can pay for my kids to go to school, well, it's the same teaching pool, right? There's not a special teaching pool for teachers that teach at noon, a country day. You understand what I'm telling you? So eventually we're all going to suffer from not wanting to foster that. We're fostering because if I'm looking for a place to set up home, I want to educate my children, right? I want to start a family and educate my family. So that's one aspect. The next aspect is you have young professionals that work in this city that can't afford to buy a home in this city, right? First responders, same educators that I'm talking about, starting their lives, and we have affordability issues due in part to what we pay people. I want the community to grow. I do. I'm not opposed to that. I'm an investor myself. That's what I've done for most of my life, right? So you don't want to say you don't want the city to grow, but the income has to grow to match that, right? We have gap financing offered by the city of New Orleans that still won't help a teacher get into a house here. So there's a ton of money sitting there, but we can't match it because even with what a teacher gets paid on her salary and the gap financing, you still can't find affordable housing in this city. So then what happens? They relocate. They're going to leave the city and go to other places where they can make more money. And some of that's right here in the state, right here in the state. We have found a way to pay teachers in other parishes a little more money than what the state will allow. Housing affordability matches their income, so they can go live in places like Slidell, or La Plaza. So some of that leaving the city is not even leaving the state; they're just going to other places that are growing, economic growth and development. People are being paid according to what they're doing. That even affects our police department. We're still talking about why people are leaving. Although we have probably some of the lowest crime rates that we've had in our city in decades, we still have a crime issue. Part of that is because the police department is down over 700 officers. You know why? The pay, affordability.
So I think you highlighted the issues like spot on, right? How do we fix them?
Because let me say city government.
I think I know, and I consider you to be just a master in terms of policy. I've had this conversation with you before, right? You do the research, you push the issues, and you create the policy. What are the policies that we have to put in place, right? From your vantage point on the city council, what policies need to be put in place?
So, and that's exactly why I ran for the at-large and not a district seat, because that is legislative, that's policy. We need to create a policy or legislation that we are allowed to pay our teachers additional salary. We know without a doubt in this climate, the state will not do it. We're in the supermajority in Baton Rouge. Every time we put in money for teacher pay raises, they take it out, they give a stipend. But other states and other cities within Louisiana, the cities also complement where they're able to pay more to their teachers. We have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why anybody would fight me on creating policy that does it. So I said, well, you can't do that. I can. I'm a lawmaker. That's what lawmakers do.
Mm-hmm.
We create new laws and new policies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
That's generally when I do it, when I'm being told what I can't do. So we have to first and foremost do that. With the police department, we have to come up, be creative and innovative, where we have a strong retention and recruitment program. Recruitment might be helping them pay off school loans, helping them, giving them some type of stipend where they can have a down payment for purchasing a home. And the retention has to be as equal as well, because what happens is we have people that come to our academy and they go to other this because they get paid more money, and the affordability is different, so they leave. We have to have a strong retention and recruitment program, which means we need to get together with myself, the district council people, to see what the needs are in that particular district, because every district in the city is different.
Yeah.
You know, there's no two districts that are carbon copies of each other.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
So that has to be a joint venture where they see the need for recruitment and retention. We have to work with whoever the mayor will be to get that done, to change the narrative of what happens.
Yeah.
You know, people don't even know crime is down.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which also then hurts us with bringing in new business. We're not getting that narrative out either. That crime is the lowest it's been in nearly 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
With short staff.
Yeah.
Imagine if we filled those positions. Imagine if we were able to create more community policing. And when I say community, I mean people who are embedded in the community to make it better, not to harass and arrest. Right? To change the narrative of even that. I think I've seen several districts already do it. My district right now, 4 districts, they are out in the community at every single event.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know these kids by name.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So then people are not afraid to call the police when they need them. All of that has to change. So that will be what my plans are. To change, to one, get our teachers paid. But the next thing with that is we have to be more business friendly. You're a small business owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, for a small business in New Orleans, it's like we're in a battle every time you go to City Hall. That's first and foremost. Before all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's first and foremost. I have clients, we know people right now waiting on permits to put a business into commerce, which will bring the city business 10, 12 months of it. That's ridiculous. You know? So we have to, that one app site, you know, it has to be completely revamped and done correctly.
So you talked about the shortage for NOPD. You talked about, you know, the teachers and retention. We also just saw an article on on NOLA.com that highlights that we're going to have a deficit, right? What is your take on the budget? Going in, we already know you all might have $120 million deficit, give or take, right? So how do we put in place those levers that you just talked about, whether it's NOPD and teachers, workforce, and even our youth, right? How do we make sure that those things happen and are prioritized in an environment where we're in a deficit?
So one, that's the narrative that's being put out.
Okay.
First and foremost, we need an audit. Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that our federal partners, Congressman Carter has sent nearly $750 million here for our infrastructure in 3 years. Where's that money? We ain't using it, because I hit a pothole coming here today. You know what I mean? I had an event Thursday night, and it poured, the skies open, and people were afraid to leave their house because they didn't know if the street was going to flood. The people are concerned about flooding their houses, businesses, cars. So I don't know that this deficit is there, because I know that we have money that we're not spending. So first and foremost, we need an audit, because clearly we are receiving funds from federal, from state partners, from some private companies that are not being utilized. that we need to be innovative and creative and using it and not holding it. In this thing of like we want to hold everything, but then you can't grow like that. You know, what would I tell a business owner who was refusing, have money but refusing to market, holding on every dollar that they have, so they can't really grow because they won't do anything. So they're holding on as if I spend this money, I'm going to lose out. You can't think like that. That's not good business at all.
Yeah.
So first of all, my first thing going in is I need a complete audit.
Yeah. 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 So I think, the assessment, the audit of, City Hall, right? I'm hearing a whole lot about, basic services, right? And I think basic services are great, right? I think the basic is the basic, and we should get those things anyway, right?
Yeah.
But I think that, one of the things that we don't see a lot of out of City Hall right now is a whole lot of transparency. Like we get the bickering, we get the fights, we get all of those things, but when it comes to transparency in terms of decisions that are being made, right, for everyday folk, right, how do you all, how will you move as a city council person to make sure that the people who really need the impacts, right, in your decisions, how do you get that to them? How do you touch them? How do you engage them better than we've done before?
So one, I've already started that process in Baton Rouge. I had legislation that passed last year for transparency and accountability of RTA. To rebuild that board stronger and better, and hopefully be able to actually make it a regional transit authority again. Jefferson Parish pulled out, and to make them more accountable, we actually created a board for the citizens where they can come and weigh in. They can't make any decisions, but they're there. They're able to hear what goes on in those meetings and make suggestions. They're able to make the suggestions based on the areas where they are. For example, we opened up a new DePaul hospital clinic on General de Gaulle that did not have a bus stop. For patients to be able to get out and walk right to the clinic, they'd have to walk almost 2 blocks. The bus stop was 2 blocks away. I had a constituent who was on that advisory board send me an email about the importance of that. I sent that email over to Lona and also to Closell, who is on the board, and a couple other board members. That bus stop now is there. You have to know the needs of the community. So you need that transparency. You need somebody from the community sitting in on those meetings. Our basic services with Sewage and Water Board, we need to look at that. I know that there's a new director over there. I'm actually scheduled to meet with him relatively soon. But also creating things like workforce development. Really, in the market, in the climate that we're in, we're going to need workforce. People need now to be retrained in other areas that can benefit these basic services. And that involves what's happening on the state level, what's happening on the federal level with people who are being fired, forced into retirement or whatever you want to call it. We have to now figure out ways so that we don't suffer from that, because we will. We will. In Louisiana, we've had already 300,000 plus African Americans who have been fired from positions. And a lot of those are right here in New Orleans. So the transparency and the accountability sometimes is actually retraining people to be in those different spaces. Taking their skills that have been used on the government side and implementing them in like a food and water board. In like an entity. Where we benefit twofold.
Let me shift a little bit, but still on the same subject. New Orleans is. I use this term. This is my term, probably not the proper use of this term, but New Orleans is really like a sanctuary. We're a democratic city, in a Republican seat, right? A red seat. Um, how will you, and I know you're a fighter, I do know that. How will you protect New Orleans, the people of New Orleans, which drives economically drives the entire state? But again, to your point, the people that are working and really creating this culture that people see and love in New Orleans, they're not getting the love. They can't even meet their needs. This gap between the wages that they bring home and the lack of affordability in the home. Like, how will you protect as a council member at large? How will you protect the city of New Orleans and its people?
So just me, not even long before I became an elected official, I have sought to empower our people with the ability to fight as well. We have so much power that we have in the African American community that we do not use, partly because life is life. Mm-hmm. We need to get the message out that life is life because who is elected? Mm-hmm. People are being elected because you're staying at home and not being involved. It's okay to hold people accountable. Mm-hmm. I have no problem. Anybody can call me any day of the week, twice on Sunday, about something that I'm doing or not doing, or that they are not even aware that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's where the power comes from. Mm-hmm. And we're in this red sea that you mentioned by choice. Because we actually have 118,000 more Democrats in this state than Republicans. So at the very least, we should be purple. You know what I mean? At the very least, we should be purple. And that's also because of the untapped power, where a lot of elected officials, and not just Republicans, some Democrats too, like to keep it that you don't know. Mm-hmm. That is done intentionally. Mm-hmm. We have to make a conscious effort, which I know you know, even before I got elected, any pocket I could get into to empower our people to know that we not just demanding affordability, but demanding more money. Mm-hmm. Right? We don't just want the housing market to go down. I want to make more money so I can buy the house.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to do that, sometimes it means shutting down some stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? We have to go back to our basics because we know how to win. Mm-hmm. We have to tap into what wins, and it won't happen overnight. Yeah. But let's not spend for 6 months and watch the change in the culture. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? We make this world go round. We make this city, we make this state go around because we spend more money than anybody else. Mm-hmm. Use that power. Money talks. Yeah. So what I want to do is to continue to empower them, to empower me to do more. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I don't mind. We did a panel earlier this year, and a young woman was at Rock of Ages. She said, "You're the vice chair of the Black Caucus. Why are you not fighting for equal pay? For raising the minimum wage?" I said, "That's what's important to you." Well, it's important to everybody. I said, I'm talking about you. That's what's important to you. She said, yes. I said, then you should know that I actually carry that bill. Mm-hmm. I don't just vote for it. I don't advocate for it. I'm the carrier of that bill. And I said, but we're going to talk about it later. Because what I want you to know, what's important to you, follow it and demand it. Right? Demand it from some of these areas where we have people who are in seats who should not be there because we're not voting. Right? But nonetheless, they're there. Then hold them accountable for being there. That's what's important to you. You follow that piece of legislation. One, make sure someone is carrying it. That's on the local level, on the state level, on the federal level. And then you make sure that the people who are representing your voice are being your voice. I'm not afraid of anybody calling me, asking me about anything I've carried, why I haven't carried it, what can I do to get it. Most of my bill ideas come from actually talking with constituents.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you having problems with insurance? No problem. Let me see what I can do. What specific problem? The Louisiana Citizens Insurance is the insurance that we forced into, but it's so much higher. What can we do about that? I went and dissected it. They make you take whatever they give you. You don't have a choice. With you know, private carriers, you can choose content coverage and stuff like that. Louisiana Citizens says here, this is what you're gonna take with all this other stuff on it. Well, I changed that.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to cover your content, you don't have to cover your content.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We had complaints about people coming into our market, devaluing our property. I opened that up.
Yeah.
These catastrophic adjusters coming in from other states don't realize how unique our market is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can't value every house, or maybe it's done by design to devalue it. You really know. So I stopped that. Now you have to be licensed, you have to take a class, and you have to be certified in Louisiana to do anything from any state. You know, say what the problem is. They got people who want to fight, people who don't mind standing on the line fighting. You know, it's crazy that in this day and age, I'm still fighting for equal pay for women.
Yeah.
You know, but if the state wants to be crazy, we have home rule. Authority.
That's right.
We can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want to raise the minimum wage beyond $7.25. It shouldn't just be government positions that we want to raise. It should be all of them. And we have the power to do that. He might not like it, that guy. You know, but that's the way it is right now. And as long as we have the ability to do it, we need to use it. And not be afraid of what somebody else might say about it. Not be afraid that people telling you it can't be done because it ain't never been done. But now is the time to do what ain't never been done.
So word on the street, I've heard this, and I don't know how prevalent this is. Some say, well, you know, on the council we shouldn't have, you know, 2 council people from Algiers, for example. What's your response to that kind of stuff?
I live in New Orleans. I'm having a hard time even wrapping my head around that silliness. Now I've heard it. We have 48 elected officials in this city. You know what I tell you? 48 elected officials in this city. I happen to live in Algiers right now. I grew up in Holly Grove. When I got married, I lived in Tilly. But nonetheless, I ain't never moved outside the city. I live in New Orleans. The bridge don't make or break anything, right? My voice, even as a state rep from Algiers, has been all over the city. If they call, you know this.
I do.
New Orleans East, or you need somebody to show up. That's what I did. I showed up. Gentilly, you needed somebody to show up for a meeting or whatever. I showed up. Uptown needed me for something. I showed up. I'm gonna show up for New Orleans. My vote in Baton Rouge right now, although I represent all of Algiers, is for New Orleans. So every bill that I passed affected our city as a whole, right? And that's just the reality of it. You're talking about Freddie King that represents Algiers and the French Quarter and some of the Bywater, and then you would have a at-large position that represents the city. My voice won't just be for Algiers. His voice is not just for Algiers because he represents some parts of the French Quarter, some parts of the Bywater. So I would wager to tell you that little whisper campaign, is more about who's running, not where I live.
Last question for me. What's your superpower? What is your superpower?
Oh, let me pick one.
Wow.
Let me pick one. You know, I think it has to be compound. You know, I'm young enough to still work 16 hours a day. But old enough to be wise enough to understand, you know, how to assess and readjust. How not to panic. That comes with experience. I rarely panic.
I don't think I've ever seen you.
No, I'm a adjust. I'm gonna assess it all. I'm better when I'm calm. You know, The 20-year-old me could not have. Really, the 30-year-old me probably, was still a firecracker.
Yeah.
But now I know how to direct the heat.
Yeah.
So I think that's my superpower.
Any questions from the audience?
Hello. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So I live in Algiers and mine triple two, right? Elections have consequences. We rarely tap into who the insurance commissioner is. Jim Donald ran unopposed for years. Tim Temple has gotten there with no um, serious competition as well. What I can tell you, I spoke about Louisiana citizens a moment ago, because after Ida, a lot of companies left our city and a lot of companies dropped people. So people were forced into citizens insurance. I was able to make some adjustments with that. We've had that fortified roof program, which I get a ton of calls complaining about, right? Because you got to spend the 10,000 to get the credit for it, and you know what I mean. So I would look to also supplement that. I don't know many people who can get a roof for $10,000 right now. So I am. But if you get it, you are now eligible for a deduction in your homeowner's insurance. So we just have to make that, I think, a little easier for people, our people who are already struggling to pay car insurance, and homeowners and grocery bills have gone up. I know some other parishes have supplemented it from the city side. But, I mean, the things we can do on the city side, maybe add a 5,000 to that $10,000 and make it easier for people to be able to get roofs changed and get that credit and then get that deduction from their insurance. So we have to be creative, innovative, think outside the box until we can change who the insurance commissioner is. We have to be, Jay mentioned, I think right before you got here, that this is a critical election cycle, every election cycle. We can't look at one as more important than the other one. We have to start as a hobby almost, voting in every election. We have to engage our Gen Z and millennials in the process, because moving forward, the way the system is set up right now in the state, they want to take our lives out of it anyway. So then they don't even know the importance of voting because it won't be in any textbook anymore. Nobody's teaching it. And by the way, nobody's teaching it right now anyway. Most schools are teaching to pass the standardized test. So we are losing like triple fold. We have these issues. The issues can be corrected if we get the right people in office, but we're not getting the right people in office because we're not voting. We're not voting because when it comes down to elections, you're talking about, I got to work to pay my insurance. I got to work to feed my kids. I got to work. You know what I mean? So you are detached from. It's like a revolving cesspool. It's like a revolving cesspool. I've talked to several. I did right after the governor's election. Went to Xavier a couple of times and talked to the students in Dr. Shepard's class. I went to Dillard, went to Suno, all just to hear their voice and why they're not voting. One, they think that their life is different from ours. They really do. They think we have our issues as adults and they have their own issues. And to let them talk to see that things overlap, we all fight the same battle. Right? And although today it's not important to you what the insurance costs are, it will be, because you're not going to be here forever. So you can't wait till you get or can't buy a house. How about this? Not get a house, can't buy a house because your debt to income ratio has shifted because the insurance rates are too high. Right? We have to engage them more because they have not been taught the importance of voting. They just have not. The Gen Zs don't have a clue about Bloody Sunday. They really don't. They don't even recognize that the Voters' Right Act was just 60 years ago. They're still thinking that's something that happened 400 years ago. You know what I mean? So we need to, the churches, the the Black schools, the Black family, because all three of those are being destroyed right now on purpose. Those people know that the moment we wake up as a society, they're in trouble. So keep them in the dark. Keep them in the dark by flooding them with the problems that we're creating. So, like you said, my insurance went up 3 times in New Orleans East. It's not isolated to New Orleans East. You know, it ain't isolated to the everyday person, and the elected officials are not feeling it. My insurance went up 3 times. Not just my homeowners, my flood went up. When I first moved into my house, I was in a X zone, so my insurance was less than, might have been like $400 a year, where I was rezoned, and I was supposed to be grandfathered in. Well, now that still went up, you know, because the federal level is fighting for flood maps that are unique to our market. They gave us this new map that could be in other states, but we are already below sea level, right? But they are not here, so they don't even understand that, so they can't wrap their heads around that. That involves who is elected, because we have certain Congress people and senators that are from Louisiana that 10 years ago allowed this to happen. And then they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and finally they had to implement the rule that they didn't fight 10 years ago. Now they all fighting for it, but you had the opportunity 10 years ago to stop this from happening. We see it even on our level. You know, years ago, with our infrastructure issues, we had people on staff to do maintenance. They maintained. They didn't wait for it to happen. They were there already. And then when Mayor Nagin got in place, he felt like to have all these people on staff, he could just contract and save more money. So in the short term, that's okay. But when you don't have somebody maintaining it, then we have what we have now. A system that's completely broken because nobody was maintaining it. Now we're reacting to things that happen. All of that is, there's no separation from it, unfortunately. Right? So the solution is we got to elect somebody better. But until then, when you come up with ideas, you call me. The Louisiana citizens, I had never even considered they were so high because they give you what you want. I'd never even considered that. In a meeting in New Orleans East with the Business Alliance, they were talking about it. And Jade will tell you, generally what happens is when you tell me something, I'm going to figure out how to make it better for you. I had a meeting with business owners about how unfair it is that they have to compete against bigger companies for contracts. So they're never getting the contract. So I changed that. Now 25% of all government contracts have to be at least given the opportunity for small businesses to get those contracts, and they compete against other small businesses. So when you have ideas, and sometimes that's sitting down looking at how other people are doing it. Hold your elected officials, because they are human just like everybody. We are human.
Yeah.
And everything that you're going through at home, we going through it too. But we have to get out of this as a unit. It's back to old school as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. We have to get rooms and converse on how to save Black families, how to educate our Black children, how to grow our Black businesses. That is something that we have to do together.
I think, and I love the question, because I think what happens for most people, average person, they don't know what to do, and they just feel like, I just have to eat it. I've just got to figure it out. I've got to,
and that's what we see
work
happen.
around it.
That's what we see happen.
You know, you talked about, like our community understanding our power, but that power has to be something that is organized and mobilized. You know, the individual person, you know, you get your bill and you know you have to have insurance, and you don't you don't know that you can change it. You just, you just kind of keep pushing through. And I think that that's the thing that we see so much in our community. Um, and many of our communities are just broken on these
And
kinds
so
of
can I
things.
tell you too? Not that I don't care about anybody else. That's actually across the board.
Yeah.
That's why that's why we have so much apathy in voting and anything to do with policy is because across the board, black, white, male, female, Republican, Democrat, the people feel like there's nothing that can be done. What I will tell you is that we don't, as a society, African Americans don't have the room to be apathetic.
Yeah.
So when you feel like that, it's okay to talk about it in church and make sure that your pastor sets up a meeting in the church where the congregation can talk about what's happening in their community. That's how it used to be done. They got sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're not gonna be riding at the back of the bus no more. What are we gonna do about it? Right? That's how it happened. They got together in groups. The back at the top of Booker Chase and said, enough is enough. This is what we're gonna do. So I'm waiting. I'm trying to throw it out there. I like conversations like this where we can get it out as often as we can. I have met with members of the Divine Nine, 100 black men, 100 black women. You put me in a pocket and I'm talking the same talk, wherever it is, because I see the easy way, not the quick way. It won't be quick.
Yeah.
But the solutions, really and truthfully, are not difficult solutions. So when you looking for ideas, I'm gonna come sit with you and we gonna hash out. I'm trying so hard not to Jesus. My mouth, Lord, I don't know.
You're home,
slip.
baby.
Yeah,
you're home. You
I
can
don't
do
almost slipped like 3 times. But we can do it, and I want to empower our people to understand that we can do it. So that means I'm talking this to pastors. I'm talking this to people who are, as a matter of fact, I'm having a brunch for the first ladies sometime soon, y'all, in the next week maybe, to empower those women to talk with their husbands about what's going on with women across our city, what's going on with our children across our city. That's my goal. A couple of months ago, I did it with the pastors. We have to now stop talking about the problem and do something about it.
Amen. I think that's it. All we have. We appreciate you carving out time. I know this is the peak season.
Yeah.
But it is really, really important for our people to be able to hear directly from our candidates. You always shown up for us, and we appreciate that.
Always will. Always will. So that's my closeout. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, love. We love you, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Throughout the election season.
Yeah, I'll tell you, don't hope for me to win, vote for me to win.
Oh no, that's right. I love it. Amen. That's the last word.